Hello, creative agency owners here in the Elite Agency Owner Circle group. It's so awesome to see you. We're getting a lot of questions and you're amazing, and I'd love to answer them. So let's talk white. So the questions we're getting around white labeling is it? How does it work? There's two ways to go with white labeling. You could white label your service or someone else. You could hire someone else and white label their service. What's the kind of the ecosystem around white labeling? How does it make sense? Labeling, let's just define that first off. White labeling happens all the time. You probably don't even realize, what's up, Scott? And how good to see you guys both. Well, you don't probably don't even realize how much white labeling goes on in the world around you. Okay, so tons of products are white labeled. It just means that somebody else, like for instance, this is a Nalgene water bottle, right all over the place. I love my Nalgene water bottles, have for so many years. Is labeled by REI, the Outdoor Gear Shop, right? Technically, this is not a white label because it probably says Nalgene. It does right down there on the bottom, but it really is. Nalgene didn't put their logo and their stuff all over it. It's labeled. So REI simply bought the product label free, Nalgene, and put the label on it. Same with services, okay? Any service that you see or use in the world around you is often white labeled. So for instance, service or a landscape company will frequently white their employees, their staff. So you may be hiring through a larger group like Merry Maids or Service Master, something big, but often those can actually reach out to local contractors to fulfill the requirements that they have to help them flex. It can them grow with the market, shrink back down, and kind of make it work. Okay. Yes, Scott, got the foam up. So check this out. Got the foam up. The room sounds a lot better. It's still kind of echoey. I got some more foam coming for over here. It's helping out. Thanks, Scott. So let's talk white labeling and how it works as an agency owner, okay? Well, you got to kind of think through the life cycle of any engagement you have. So white labeling really simply, and I'll see if it is without having the glare of my screen popping back at you, but I think it'll work out. So think through the life cycle of your agency situation. What's up, Michael? Allison, good to see you. So right up here, we're going to have kind of a list of the things that you as an agency owner, okay? So let's say this whole list of, you got the client acquisition, the sales process, you got to go out and find them and market them, things like, let's just say marketing, right? You got cost, and then you're going to have the sales process to actually get client in the door for you. This is for you, your sales cycle. Then you have the production costs along with any costs. Like if you're producing a website, you also have hosting fees. There's lots of things going on here. Hosting's a great example of white labeling. A lot of white labeling is done, like GoDaddy. If you buy GoDaddy website or other branded domains, those are often white labeled and somebody else is actually holding the material behind them. I think GoDaddy does most of theirs now. I'll get the idea. So you got marketing, sales, the actual cost of doing the service for your client. You have the that you have to expend on. You have the staffing cost. Then you have any delivery costs that you have. This is a list of things that are going on in your service or your product to get it out the door. If you're white labeling something, you're simply shortcutting some of this, okay? So let's talk about the white. They have the same white labeling group they're going to have. If you're over here, you could hire to do the marketing, right? You could hire someone. This will all make sense in a second. To do sales, you could hire someone to actually building, produce the service. You could find someone else who acquisition of all the products, delivery, whatever else we had over here, all the things that are going on. If you're white labeling something, then you have a client who's hiring you to do this entire suite of things, but you may say, hey, my agent doesn't really want to do that. It's not in our best interest. Our profit margins aren't high enough for whatever part of this service you have. No big deal. You usually say, well, hey, we obviously love the marketing and the sales. We found the original client, but we don't like the actual producing the service, like building a website or running the ads or doing the research behind the ad running, something like that. You can simply outsource that, right? A lot of people think outsourcing. So I'm going to take a piece of this and I'm going to stick it out here. I'm going to go grab this agency's work on research or website building or whatever and bring it in and pop it right in that slot. Now, my team doesn't have this anymore. We get to just skip right down here. Oh, we don't want to do this either. Puzzle that we don't want to do. Let's say it's artwork, videography, some kind of design work that we don't want to do? No work. Just white label it, pop it out there, let somebody else do it, and bring it in. This is sound like outsourcing, right? It is a lot like outsourcing, but in cooler. Instead of traditionally when you're outsourcing something, having to lead another person, a VA, somebody through the process. But with white labeling, you're finding somebody who's really, really good at whatever you don't want to do, and you're hiring them to do it. She gets to do marketing, let's say like that. You'll love the sales process, like this execution process. You want to come down here, you want to handle delivery, and you're going to love that because you're going to get paid right here. You're going to handle elections, and then you're going to pay these people right here for their work, okay? Now, that is simply white labeling. Two ways this can go, right? You can label both directions. You could be the getting white labeled. My agency has done this many, many times. Sometimes we allow people to white label our product or service. We've not honestly in, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, but we do a lot of white labeling on the outside. We did it early on because it was a way to generate revenue, right? We wanted to be over here. We were good at some things, but we weren't necessarily great at all the process. And so we wanted to make sure we could jump in here and grab some revenue, right? That was a big thing for us, but we didn't want to have to jump out here and do every other piece. So we white labeled our services to other business owners, agencies, in fact, at different times. And that was a great thing for us. It was lots of revenue fast, and we didn't have to complete the whole business cycle of owning an agency. Now we're on the flip side of this. We actually white label a lot of other people's services in the creative world. We don't, for instance, we don't build any websites at our agency. We don't run any ads. We don't handle any of the ad spend. We do very little ad research. We do some of that actually. Some of that we like to dabble in to make sure it's actually good research. We don't do much graphic design. We have a couple folks on our team who are amazing at it and great at videography, but we try to outsource that as much as possible because it's easy for us to go get the client. We're great at that. We're great at building the market, but there's things that just simply we don't want to become experts at. You and your agency can't become experts at everything, okay? If you try to become an expert at everything, it can really, really hurt you. You'll find yourself just completely washing out, and you'll be in a spot after a few years. You'll have all these VAs and all these options going on that you're managing and controlling, and wow, does that get complex, and it gets, and your profit margins go down, down, down. So our profit margins are extremely high for a creative agency, and that's because we figured out a couple things: how to upsell our products and sell really well. We've also figured out how to make sure that we're not doing the things that don't bring us a lot of profit. Some make a ton of money doing video editing. We just don't, and it's not our gig, and we're not going to start. That's not our purpose while we're here. So as you're thinking through white labeling, side of the equation you're on, if you're the person being labeled or the agency, or you're the agency labeling someone else's services, think that through. Hey, if you have questions, I'm going to make sure I have a couple more comments, but I want to make sure I catch up quick. It's kind of choppy, might be me. Okay, and let me know if the audio is choppy. I'm not sure why the video is choppy, but I can try to track that down. Awesome. Thanks for the love and the thumbs. Okay. Michael, it's choppy audio for me too. Maybe Bluetooth. Oh, good question. I don't know. How about this? I'm going to pop the Bluetooth off. Can you still hear me? Can y'all still hear me? If you can, let me know. I'll keep scrolling here. Okay. If you can still hear me, give us thumbs on the audio. The thing between here, if there's something between these two services that you have, so make sure you get this right. There is a contract that's in place. There is some between these two white sourcers and white sourcees, we'll say. Okay, yeah, Michael, you love video editing, but it's quite time consuming. Yes, it is. Yeah, it is. So right in here, this is, I love video editing too. It's really, really fun, actually. I love the creative process of that, but for us. So right down here in the middle, you've got to have a really strong process, because if you white label someone else's services, this person right here is getting an enormous amount of access about your clients. This client right up here, a lot of information is going through this wall that we've created. Your client right here, but these people are getting access to your client. You don't want those people stealing your client. So and you got to have things there that are going to keep you and your client on the same page and on the same interfering with what you're doing in your market. Super duper important. Okay, still happening, Allison? Oh man, it's my connection. Yeah, blazing fast internet. I will try to fix. I do see it acting a little jittery. So sorry. This right here, though, if you can catch up to me, this contract. Make sure you never just outsource or white label. It's not outsourcing, it's different. White label someone else's work. Somebody else asked or a white labeling, and it's a really good one. It's about if you're growing your agency and you're going to actually, I'm trying to pause everything that could be using Wi-Fi on my computer so you guys can hear me better. Make sure that if you're bringing somebody on, I think it was, I forget who asked the question, but it was a question about if you bring somebody on, replicate yourself. You need another high-end expert to join in. You're flexing, you're growing, you've got a lot of VAs, but there's a need to label high-end expertise. I do that. I discussed a little bit yesterday, but we actually hire in extremely high-level experts for PR, for human resources, really complex issues that come up in, like government and large corporation political situations. We hire to handle. It's actually worse than it was. Oh my gosh, the audio killing me. Good content, keep going, but you can't. Okay. So, Amy, good to see you. Or hey, great to see you. I'm not possible. This content, if it jumps back in the audio, fine. I'll keep firing away. This line, you and them safe. I just mentioned that. If you're hiring high-end experts to help you with your agency's work, if you need someone to speak on your behalf, as you, as an extension of your agency, white label them, which means you bring them on as an independent contractor. All right, there's simple contracts you can get out there for that. Contracts that say, hey, you're going to handle these conversations for our clients, or you're going to handle some hard type process work and make sure they're all legally compliant. Or I don't do this, by the way, with any tax issues. All right, tax and legal, I send clients straight to a qualified legal professional, qualified tax. But when it comes to more information like we provide, more services like as an agency, I want to make sure that I'm bringing those experts. We're white labeling them, meaning they're coming in. They're coming in with our logo on their shirt or their jacket, right? Not literally, but they're on, but yet they're not really, because we're only paying them for a couple of hours or for a couple of days of their time. That makes it very affordable for us to retain that staff member because it's flexible as the affordable for you to stretch and flex and grow your agency and scale it while keeping what you're most efficient and most profitable at. So bring in some other awesome agency folks into the ecosystem and giving them a chance to stretch and grow and do their thing. That is white label. Questions. Let's do that. Questions. How do you ensure social account security? How do you ensure social account security to white label providers? So, I mean there, Michael. So you're handing off the management of a social media account or managing some piece of that. Good question. So, as you, then that's a little stickier because if they're speaking as you can obviously get rights and stuff like that to social media accounts. But if they're speaking as you, then they're going to have access to your real deal account that they have a lot of integrity and yeah, anybody that's truly logging in as you on a social media account can totally mess you up with the stroke of a few keys, right? So that's a really high trust situation because they're kind of acting on behalf of you, and that's a really big deal. So, for instance, and Kimberly, my executive administrator, she's amazing. She's also our director. She's grown into our agency and just become a super rock star. She has access to almost everything Chris Williams, right? Um, he responds and takes care of all that for me. I'm not white labeling her. She's actually of ours, but you get the idea. She grew into that and she was very trusted, and that's how she's for a super big thing. We use LastPass for our pass. Helps with that because you can give someone access to those passwords and links via LastPass. We also set up identification where a phone has to get a text or something like that, and that comes to a phone number that myself and Kimberly have access to check. That way, anybody else on our team in those circles, if they ever chose to change a password or tried to get around our system, we'd get another check on that. That's a good question. Any, okay, Michael, worried about handing off client social accounts. Same issue there. If you're handing out off client, so it's so doable though. So we have staff members that handle our clients' social accounts, and we've done that very successfully. But again, build a little trust to make sure you have some. And there's honestly a lot of great trustworthy people out there. Just watch it, monitor it closely, let that trust build slowly, and stay on top of it. Even if you do trust someone, trust and verify, right? That'll quote, trust them, verify, check up. Now we have a process in place where I actually have someone else doing the verifying for me, so I don't have to do that. Knocking out questions here. Okay, Scott, don't give them directs. Do it only through a social media manager system. Another great solution there. Scott can't prevent them posting something bad on your account, but at least you run any risks with the account itself. Good point, Scott. That's a great way to protect that. Scott, high-end systems, you can make all posts go through this. Yes, we've used that as well. We used to use that several years ago, a hiring process that made us check in every post. There is some value in not having a system doing it for you. Look, and Instagram, they just love, and Twitter does too, they love that direct, another piece like Hootsuite or some of those jumping in there. But it's complicated, right? Scott, any more stuff you want to put in there is awesome. Social at scale, obviously a resource in this area. Stephen, great to see you. So there you go. White labeling. With all this stuff on the board, you should back the video up a little bit because it'll explain it. All right, that's all the Q&A. It's a Friday. Hope you enjoy your weekend. Hey, what's up, Remo? Good to see you, man. Make sure you ask questions if you have any. You can shoot me a private message or ask in the group, and I'll reply and do my best to put some content to you guys. This is all about scaling and making your agency insanely profitable in a scalable way without taking a ton of your time, because you can run the processes and systems and get organized as you grow your agency. You can do this. You can do this. I promise. I did it. I'm not the sharpest guy in the world. You can totally ways to grow your agency and keep your sanity and make a ton of money doing it. It's happy. The whole ecosystem works. You can crush this. Okay. Awesome to see everybody. Drop any more questions, comments you have. We will talk about this more and more. And I'll see you guys probably a little bit later today via just the comments. And then I'm going to take a little time off and on Monday, I think. All right. Y'all have a great one. Bye.